Sarah said there's heavy traffic, so she might not be here. So, Sarah, we didn't. Your costume, we didn't even recognize you. That's why. See, yes, you did. I heard there was a wreck all over the place. I think around here. It's you guys. You know, it's the cold weather. You guys are slipping on the ice out there, right? Cannot handle it. That is too good. And I think we threw I'm glad you guys made it. You guys found where we are and when we are, more importantly, because we switched up on you. This is not the first Tuesday of the month. You guys, I know, what in the world, all right? We're 24 hours ahead. We just had some scheduling issues we needed to try and grab, plus we wanted to see Sarah in her costume, and all sorts of things happening. So, I'm glad you made it, and because it's cold, maybe we got a bunch of people sitting at home watching from the convenience with their fuzzy bunny slippers on. Easier to watch there, so you can make that happen. A couple things we want to go. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Nick, scariest costume I've ever seen, dude.
This is real, Nick.
Oh, it's real? Sorry. All right, my bad. All right. That's why, was it Kevin? Kevin, okay, we'll talk about our Christmas party coming up, but Kevin always wants to have the ugliest sweater contest, right, at the Christmas party. And I said, nah. I said, someone's going to come and win and not know that there was an ugly sweater contest, all right? I said, and that would be the worst thing that could ever happen is we get them the prize, like, what did I win? The ugliest sweater. You did it. You went way above and beyond. Oh, really? My wife knitted for me last year. So we avoid such potential pitfalls in our things. So I know it's lame. It's just weak. All right. But I'm also not going to dress up like title guy either. So, but that's okay. Okay. As we get going. All right. So happy Halloween. Everybody got big plans? Kids going? Who has kids? All right. All right. What's that?
Older kids.
Older kids? Are they still trick-or-treating though? No. Oh, okay. All right. Very good. All right. Yeah, Joseph says no way. Samuel's birthday was yesterday. Actually 30th? Yeah. So he has it all rolled into one big fail swoop. So he just kind of keeps going on and on and on. So we're good to go there. Did you guys meet Margot? I met Margot, one of our new agents. Okay, she helped me carry the donuts in. She pretended like she brought them, so it was perfect. All right, it was awesome. What's that?
Donuts.
I know. Well, see, this is the meeting where we have donuts. Okay, tomorrow's 100K meeting in Orlando. No donuts, only apples, oranges, fruit, nuts. I'm telling you, see, all the healthy stuff is there. But if I didn't bring carbs here, I'd get thrown out. All right, and I understand that. So, right, Nick?
Absolutely.
See, absolutely. Okay. Well, good. Especially on Halloween. What's that?
You can't go bagel to bagel without bagel.
Yeah, you can't go to bagel without a bagel. That's very true. All right. So you 100Kers understand what going bagel to bagel means. It's the learning something, eating a bagel, and then never doing it, never implementing that. All right, and that is the mantra of most realtors. All right, I'm going to go bagel to bagel. I'm just going to go where the next bagel is. Go to a training, learn something, never implement it. Wake up the next morning, go to another training, eat another bagel, learn something, never implement it. All right, and keep going bagel to bagel. So we changed that in 100K. That's why we don't even serve bagels to begin with. All right, I'm off track already. So, Morning, you got anything for us?
Yeah. Okay, I sound like a broken record because they say this every time I'm here, but he wants you.
Oh, get over here. All right, sorry.
If we could get you guys to please put your settlement statements into paperless pipeline after closing. I know a lot of you think if you just mail them with a check, that's good enough. We don't scan and upload, so we really need you guys to do that, and I'm sending a lot of emails out. And a lot of the cappers, and you know who you are, you have to put it in there because you don't send a check to us so we don't know to close it out. So you need to put your settlement statement in there, so that's our trigger to close your transaction out. And the other thing, if y'all could really help us with, is when you get a note from the contract admins or the listing admins, and they're telling you they're missing documents, do not hit reply and reply back to them. Go back into paperless, go in your transaction, and blog inside the transaction to the admins directly. Because let's say Pat sent you a note. Well, Pat is part-time. All of our girls are part-time. So they may not be working again for 3 or 4 days. So if you're emailing Pat specifically, or Deb, or Asha, you won't get as fast a turnaround unless you go in and respond directly to the contract admin. Whoever's working that day does their best to go in and respond to you. So please don't reply. Don't reply. Go in and communicate with us inside the transaction so we can see what's going on. That way I can jump in and I can see the train of what's going on. But if you're communicating through email to someone, I don't know what's transpired. So if y'all could just really remember that. You look like you're gonna laugh.
I thought you were gonna say train wreck.
So that's it. It's my 2 updates. Just constantly just remind y'all those 2 things.
So upload those HUDs, and if you're a capper, which is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
If you're a capper and you have no reason to dialogue with us because you got paid at closing and we don't even exist in your eyes, that's fine, except we still need those final documents uploaded to the file. Because remember, that whole pay at the closing table is a really good thing, but it is a privilege and not a right? And privileges can be removed, right? And so we can just do that, and then all of a sudden now, when I'm holding your $18,000 check, and I say I need this document, guess what? The document shows up. It's amazing how quickly it gets there when you haven't cashed the check already, all right? But when you've already cashed the check, you're like, HUD, schmud, closing doc, whatever. We'll get it to them when I get around to it, all right? So just remember that. That's our preference to do. Cool? Awesome. Let's go around real quick with our vendors, and we're going to bring up our guest speaker for the day. All right, Jerry, how are you, man?
Good, thank you.
All right, well, this Jerry, Jerry, how are you?
I'm doing fine too.
All right, good to see you. We're going to hear from this Jerry later on as well, all right? Other Jerry.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
Good morning, Future Home Realty and guests. Did you know that we service all of Tampa Bay, and that, including myself, we have now a team of 8 professional property management folks at Gulfview Realty Property
That's
Management?
good. I didn't know you had 8.
Team of 8.
Nice.
Yeah. But that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about, last month we mentioned, or we inkled, about Metropolitan Ministries, and we have now everything set up with Metropolitan Ministries for the Future Home Christmas holiday get-together at the Greater Tampa Realtors. Okay, I didn't say GTAP.
No, you did. Get it.
And of course, that is Tuesday, December the 5th. And GTAR.
Yeah, you get it. See?
Slipped.
That's right.
Metropolitan Ministries will have everything set up with regards to their donation barrels, et cetera, that morning. And as we stated last month with the sanction of Bob, the price of admission, if you will, is either a non-perishable food item or items or toy. And the difference will be this year, instead of Jerry and others carrying all that stuff back to the office after the party, Metropolitan Ministries will be there around 4:30 to pick everything up and take back to the big tent for sorting, et cetera, et cetera. So we'd appreciate anything that you can bring. We know last year you were all very generous, and we appreciate that. In addition to that, as far as coming together for working with Metropolitan Ministries prior to Thanksgiving and prior to Christmas, we will have those lists out here in the next couple days, and hopefully we can get Jim to email that all out to you, as well as we'll have the sign-up sheets as well in the office in what I call the bullpen area. If you have any questions, see me after class, or email me, call me, whatever. Again, I'm Jerry Papa, for many of you that don't know me, and have a very spectacular day.
Nice. Good job. Well worded. Got that out. Perfect. We're going to come back to David. David's coming back later because he's got a law degree, and we come back to him later. All right.
He's on retainer.
He is on retainer, exactly.
Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Halloween. I think I know everyone in the room. Just met Margot for the first time.
See?
Kevin Overstreet. I'm the owner of Insured Title Agency right next door to Bob's main office in West Chase, right down the street. And also, I'm the director of Synergy Title Partners in Madera Beach and the founder of the Become a Better Agent training program. And what I'm going to do now is introduce the lovely Lisa Vital. She is one of our closers, which tells you I need more business business because I was able to get a closer out of my office.
That's right, on the
last day of
31st.
month.
What's up
I
with
know.
that?
Spooky, right?
Yeah, spooky.
So Lisa's going to pass around these flyers for the event that's happening next Wednesday. Give one to everyone except Sarah and David. This is, we had to reboot because I was sick in October, but everyone, including Mr. McDougald, is available to speak next Wednesday. This is going to be a fantastic event, and we have 90 registrations so far, and we can hold 100 people, so please, there are instructions at the bottom of the flyer how to register. This is the real estate investing edition. This is our 22nd one of these meetings, and it's at TPC Tampa Bay, really cool facility, and then right outside is a covered area where we're going to have the partner fair for the first time. We have about 20 of our partners, such as Tiffany, who will be exhibiting there. It's kind of like a miniature trade show for now. Next year it'll be like a big trade show. But that's it. Please register and come next Wednesday. And of course, thank you for the closing business. We really appreciate it. Been working with you guys forever and hope that continues forever.
Awesome.
All right.
Great. Thanks, title guy.
You're welcome.
All right. Sarah.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How
Good.
are you?
Little cloak and dagger.
Sarah Sanderson from Hocus Pocus.
Very nice. Looking at the camera.
Oh, hi. So I'm Sarah Hash with Equity National Title. I'm coming in my 20th year in the business.
Wow.
And
Started when she was 2.
I know, right?
See?
I sold real estate for 12 years, so I've been in all your shoes. And aside from having phenomenal closers, I spend my time focusing on building my realtor's business. So I like coaching agents, and I love what I do.
Awesome.
And I don't really have anything else to say.
Great. Well,
Love
super.
it.
Oh, and we have something.
We do.
What's it, November?
But I was trying to get non-future home agents. No.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
just
well,
kidding.
we can, yeah.
No,
okay.
I'm kidding.
Gotcha.
So
You already got it in with them. I'm trying to get a new in. I get it. Yeah.
November 30th at Pro at 11:30, Bob is going to be teaching the benefits of incorporating.
Yeah.
And then I have a time management class on
Awesome.
November 17th at Leo's at 11:30.
Perfect.
Both free with lunch.
All right, awesome. You got to follow these people. See, people who no affiliation with Equity National, no affiliation with Insured Title, no affiliation with Gulfview Property Management, but I've kind of that whole affiliated business thing. I've been there, done that, and stopped doing it. I just like to bring people to you that I know that help add value to you, right? I mean, because there are how many title companies out there? A lot, all right? How many mortgage companies out there? A lot. How many insurance companies out there? A lot. And who do we let get in front of you are people that are going to add value. And every person that I know that just got done speaking adds value. They're looking to help you. They've really bought into the whole generosity generation concept. Let's go give massive value first to the agent, and then if the agent senses that massive value, there's like the Riddler just walked by. Love that. All right. Once you receive massive value, all right, then you feel psychologically, yeah, you know what? I just closed 3 deals, and that was directly related to something I learned at Baba, or something that I picked up from Jerry, or something that Sarah personally mentored me on, right? And so with that in mind, they're like, hey, I should probably, throw this business their way. Makes sense, right? Well, we teach the very same thing in 100K, right? Is what we teach is go that whole generosity generation. Rather than you go out and say, hey, Nick, good, haven't seen you in a while, buddy. We went to high school together. Give me business.
Exactly.
Right? That's what we're taught to do. Right? Hey, go touch everybody you know. How about this? Hey, Nick, haven't seen you in a while, man. Let's grab some lunch. We catch up and see what's going on in your life. And then when we catch up and grab lunch or a coffee or whatever, I say, hey, Nick, what's going on? I mean, what can I help you with? Like, I got, my daughter's in FFA, right?
Yep.
And, she needs some sponsorships for this thing she wants to go to in Indianapolis, right? She does, right? Okay. Can't help me out, right? Good deal. I'm covering my wallet now, right? Okay. But seriously, those kind of things, it's like, because now once I help Nick, we call it go give massive value first. Earn the right is another way we put it, right? Where instead of me asking for the referral, I earn the right to get the referral, right? There's a difference in those two. Go ask first. Instead, I go give massive value first. Nick says, hey, look, that was really cool. I appreciate the way Bob did that. Oh, you know what? I was just having coffee with another friend of mine, and they talked about the fact that they need to sell their home. I should have them call Bob, right? And so that's just how this all works, right? The whole synergy of it's almost like building your own little B&I group, right? You're just going to go out and build your own little networking group and let things, come your way. So all the vendors that we allow in front of you, all right, are not because they, I have a financial interest in their business, all right? Other than the fact that as they add value to you and you do more business, that helps my business, right? And so it's all a synergistic relationship. It's where everything rolls and comes through. So know that the partners that come in front of you have been, at least the ones that have been here multiple times. Someone might sneak in on me every once in a while, all right, but I can sniff them out pretty good, all right? That's, and then we learn to just vet them, and get them out. Cool? All right? You ready? Tiffany. All right, so speaking of vendors, so here's Tiffany Obenredder. Tiffany O, we call her. All right, okay. Here you go. This is not a microphone, so it's not going to enhance your voice.
Okay, it's just for the recording.
And it's not. Do you need a witness protection? We can voice modify it. Though.
Yes, actually.
Can
you do that autoplay thing?
Yeah, right. Exactly. So you can hold
That'd
that.
be cool.
All right, cool. Let me get this off your screen, by the way. All right.
Thanks. So my name's Tiffany Obenredder, and I'm the agency owner of State Insurance. And it's great to be here. I see a lot of familiar faces. So hello, everyone that I've done business with before, and I'm excited to meet everyone else as well. I really liked what you just said about earning the right. So I'm not really here to just expect you to start sending business to me, but I'd like to just tell you a little bit about who I am and what I do, and then ask for a chance to work with your clients. Basically, I've been in insurance since I was 14, so next year I'll be 35. I'm a third-generation insurance agent, so insurance is my life. My whole family's in insurance. We sit around and talk about it all the time at holidays, and I pulled my husband into it now too. So that being said, I have a lot of knowledge, I have a lot of experience, and I bring a lot to the table in that regard. I've built my agency with the philosophy that we want to provide amazing customer service to not only our customers, but to our referral partners. So mortgage professionals, realtors such as yourself, we are really looking to partner with you and provide an enhanced service to your clients, your buyers, to ensure that the transaction goes smoothly. We like to set ourselves apart in a way where we provide really try to be competitive quotes. One thing about rates in the industry that I don't know if you all are aware of, all insurance agents have access to pretty much the same companies and the same rates. So if you're getting a lower or cheaper quote, it's probably a, what's the word I'm looking for? A basic policy. So really stripped down, there could be coverages missing that are really important. For example, the house could be at replacement cost, but the roof could slip by as actual cash value. And if something were to happen to that buyer, even though the transaction's closed, that could come back later to your reputation, or they could come back to you and say, hey, you referred me to this person, and this is the insurance product that I purchased. So we really try to make sure that your customers are getting a really good product, and also they have a choice. So we're not going to try to get them to get the most expensive thing. So we'll provide a really basic quote and then a much more enhanced or comprehensive policy and let them choose. So no one can come back at the end of the day and say that you steered them in the wrong direction. I feel like I'm rambling, and I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. So I'm going to move on from.
No need to be nervous.
Thank you. In front of you, I've put something called a homeowner's insurance checklist. And this has been really helpful to our referral partners. Basically run through when a 4-point inspection is required. 4-point looks at the electrical, the roof, the plumbing, and the AC in the home. So we need to see that for every property that's 30 years or older, just to ensure that everything's been updated, it's in sound condition, and it's eligible for the company that we're quoting it with. So each company is going to have a little bit different characteristics that they're looking for. And then just a brief overview of the wind mitigation report, when you need it and why. So that's really any home built after 2001. And that's going to show us how the roof is attached to the house, and it provides the highest level of discounts. So it's really important that your buyers get a wind mitigation for homes older than 2001. A lot of people think they can forego that because it is an extra expense of about $75, but we highly, highly recommend it. And then flood insurance. So everyone loves flood insurance, I know, just kidding. And there is a lot of changes coming down the pipeline, especially with all the hurricanes that we had this summer. So I don't want to say I'm nervous about it, but it's a little rocky right now, the NFIP, which is the National Flood Insurance Program. And come December, there are some whispers about Trump declaring basically that any new construction in a flood zone that requires flood insurance, or any home that's had multiple losses, will not be eligible for the National Flood Insurance Program. This is unprecedented, so it's a little nerve-wracking. The good news is that there are private insurance markets available, but the one thing with private insurance in the flood market is that it's so new and emerging that a lot of lenders aren't accepting private flood insurance yet. So we're hoping all of that will change, but just want to let you know that I'm available anytime for questions about that, and as those changes do progress, I will get in touch with you or however you disseminate information to your agents to keep you in the loop so you're able to answer questions for your customers.
Homeowners only?
No, we do home, auto, and we do business insurance, so commercial buildings. One other thing I'd like to point out about us is, since we are independent, we represent over 30 carriers, which means we have basically a market for everything. Sinkhole, coastal, high value. I don't like to say no to business, so we are set up in a way that we can provide really good products for essentially any market.
So what's your opinion? Because I'm just buying an investment property right now, it's in a flood zone, and so the NFIP quote came in like ridiculous.
Okay.
You know, and then, but the private was much more palatable.
Yes.
And I mean, it seemed to me that NFIP is trying to say, hey, look, you know what? Let's just get ourselves out of the business. So let's just make the things so ridiculous that, which is, you know, fine. I'm a free market guy anyway. I think, you know what? If someone can do it cheaper and better, and keep the government out of it, then that's a win-win-win. So do you see that's where that's probably headed? I mean, other than the fact that they're just going to refuse to do it, you know?
Absolutely, yes. The rates are getting ridiculous, and grandfathering is going away. So what that means is older homes that have been grandfathered into preferred flood zones will be losing that option. So that homeowner will then be forced to purchase the home or the flood insurance at a higher rate. I personally, it's impossible, we live in Florida, but I like to steer my friends and family and business friends away from purchasing properties that are in a flood zone that require flood insurance, just because the market's so volatile right now, and there are private markets available, and the rates can be amazing. I'm talking like thousands of dollars cheaper, but it's so new. There's no... Right.
And how solvent are these people?
Exactly.
Major event?
And a lot of them are backed by Lloyd's, and
Sure.
I'm not really worried about the solvency. I'm worried about the rates
Got it.
creeping and creeping and creeping.
Did you have any experience during Irma or anything recent with those private flood companies paying out claims or anything like that?
There were no issues with that. The biggest issue was with the NFIP. So I don't want to lose you guys because this is a lot of information, but the NFIP, the highest building limits they offer are $250,000. That is the most flood insurance that you can purchase, and that is all lenders require. But if you have a home and the replacement cost is $800,000, if they don't purchase the excess flood insurance, if they file a claim, they're going to get dinged for not having 100% or at least 80% of the replacement cost covered. So they'll get dinged and they'll actually have to pay a fine or only receive a portion of the $250,000 that they purchased. So that's not a guaranteed $250,000 that they'll get. That's the biggest issue that we saw actually with Matthew last year. And then everything coming in now with Irma and Harvey is, everything's such a wreck right now that we haven't even really gotten solid numbers back on that. So it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. David?
Yes.
I just had an inspection done last week, and they discovered a Federal Pacific electrical box.
Yes.
And I haven't had that in a while, and back when I did have it, there weren't any insurance companies that would insure because of it. Is it easier today? I'm having an ongoing debate with the listing agent.
That's a really good question. So what's your name?
My name?
Yes.
David.
David's asking about recalled breaker boxes, so issues on 4-point inspections. There are companies that will insure the recalled breaker boxes. Also, we can talk with companies if the seller decides to make a concession and give cash to the seller to replace it after closing, we can get that approved. So even if it's a company that won't necessarily take that breaker box, there are workarounds around it. So it's not always, it has to be replaced. Don't let stuff like that mess up your deals. Just call my office and we'll let you know what your options are, really.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Yes.
I don't have a question, I just want to vouch for Tiffany and for State Insurance. They've been the official insurance partner of the Better Agent program since probably almost 2 years ago. They've been very supportive of the whole effort, and we've referred a ton of business, or a ton of people to them, and I've heard nothing but fantastic things. And kind of the most important thing that I heard from Tiffany is insurance is insurance. Every agency has access to pretty much the same thing. It's the same as title insurance. If you're with Sarah's company or David's or mine, your client's going to get basically the same final product. It's the service and the people throughout the process that really matter. And I know both of these folks have great companies, as do I. And so does Tiffany, so I highly recommend her. And
Thank you.
I just decided that I'm going to interview her at Baba 23 on December 7th in Madera Beach, at the Madera Beach City Center, and we'll go really deep into the flood zone stuff and whatever
Okay.
we come up with.
Great.
We're right there.
Yeah, Madera Beach is a good place to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Thanks,
Real life
Kevin.
example. As the water's rising.
Just one last thing I do want to say. I really appreciate that, Kevin. We really strive. Our whole thing is customer service, and we don't do any really marketing except for going out and meeting people, and our business is built on referrals, so we just try to go above and beyond. And with that, we try to do same-day quotes. So one of the biggest complaints I've heard from lenders and realtors alike is that they ask for a quote and days, sometimes a week goes by before they get a quote back. And a lot of times your buyers are trying to figure out if they even want to buy something. So we really try to do same-day quotes. I mean, if it's 4:30 and it comes in, it might be the next morning, but yeah.
Good. Jerry, do you have
Thanks.
a question?
Well, you were talking about the flood with elevation certificates and
Yes.
things like that. That seems to be the hot button right now. You see people coming out and saying, hey, we can do it digitally on the computer and give you an idea of where the house is elevation-wise. How is that with your business right now? Is that something that you're seeing is the next step to say, hey, I had no flood, I was in an X zone last year, they redid it, and now all of a sudden I'm in a flood zone.
Right.
Nothing's changed in my house in regards to that. My elevation might be above that. Are you seeing that more people are getting?
It really just depends on the house, because certain homes won't require an elevation certificate based on the year built. And then sometimes even so it's called pre-firm. So it's basically if the house was built before the flood rate maps were created, it doesn't need an elevation certificate. So the best thing to do in those scenarios is to just call us and we can look at it and see, we can do the quote and then let you know if you had an elevation certificate, it could potentially be lower, or don't bother. It's always going to be a case by case situation, unfortunately.
In the county records, it went from an X and now it's an AE. And it seems like the insurance company are saying, well, it's an AE and you need flood insurance now. But I never needed it before.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's not,
yeah.
that's not us, that's gonna be either the county or the government. So fortunately, it seems like a small concession, but for a year, if you get transferred from a preferred zone that doesn't require flood insurance to then a flood zone that does require insurance, you get to keep the preferred rate for a year, which, gee, thanks, like.
Yeah.
But I think on that sheet it says about, it doesn't, but, so elevation certificates are super frustrating to come by. My best advice for that is if you're working with a buyer who's wanting to purchase a house in a home or on a property that requires flood insurance, is to ask the current owner for their flood policy, because you can transfer flood policies. So that's your first step. If they don't have a flood policy, ask them if they have an elevation certificate at least. Because elevation certificates are about $175 to start. And then the third thing is, a lot of the counties, especially Pinellas, have been working really hard to gather and store elevation certificates for every property. So you'd be amazed what you can find online. And they don't ever expire. So.
Can we find them online?
Oh, yeah.
That our buyer wants to purchase?
Definitely. So each county is going to be different. They're a little difficult to find, but if you just call me, I'll direct you.
It's good to know that you can find it.
Yeah. And they're not always there, but when it is there, it's like Christmas. You're like, oh my God. Yeah. Yes. Any other questions? Yes.
As far as sinkhole, do you only offer catastrophic sinkhole insurance?
Meaning the catastrophic ground cover collapse?
Whereas like the whole house basically would have to collapse before it's covered. You wouldn't be able to, like if a wall fell in. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you
Sure.
offer?
So she's asking about remediated sinkhole homes, correct? Or any home?
Just any that, say there's a sinkhole.
Okay.
It's a sinkhole house, how would you cover?
So remediated sinkhole homes, and this is actually, Nick, this is going to be interesting for you in that house that you have, and the quotes that we were talking about. A lot of companies, so let me back up. Every homeowner's insurance policy in Florida is required to provide what's called catastrophic ground cover collapse. And essentially what that is if there's a sinkhole and the house is deemed uninhabitable, it's covered under the policy with no deductible to the full policy limits. And that's just a mandated coverage by the state. Traditional sinkhole coverage is still available. It's just harder to come by because the way that that policy language was written 10 years ago had so many loopholes that attorneys just came in and destroyed it. So you could get, basically, if your house was insured at $250,000 and there was a crack in your sidewalk, you could get $250,000.
And people were doing it, that's why
Yeah.
there were billboards.
It's a nightmare. And the billboards are everywhere still. So homes that have had sinkholes remediated, it is pretty much impossible to get that traditional quote-unquote sinkhole coverage on it, but it still
But any new
comes.
policy will still have catastrophic.
Catastrophic.
Because every policy has catastrophic.
Yes, except for the homes that have sinkholes. A lot of times those have to be written with companies that are considered to be excess and surplus, which is going to be way over your head, but that basically means that they don't have to adhere to the Florida regulations, so they will exclude even catastrophic ground cover collapse. So you have to be really careful when you're getting quotes for homes like that to make sure that it has that at least. I hope that makes sense. I know it's kind of confusing. Yes.
What about the
the house with a sinkhole repaired, that kind of case, I have one case like that, and I sent a couple quote requirement to different insurance company, and they come back. Sorry, at that time I don't know you, so I did not send.
That's okay.
Come back with, none of them wanna give in the policy for this case.
Do you know if the repairs were completed?
Yes, completed, and I have the document recorded.
Okay.
Engineering report?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have 3 companies right now that will write remediated sinkholes. 2 of them require full color photos of multiple reports, which is like jumping through hoops of fire sometimes. And then the other company doesn't care. They'll just insure it. And they're a great company too, so.
So eventually, that case come up with, there's one carrier take this case but only cover for named stone.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really subpar policy, so. Yeah, just give us a call. For right now, we have GeoVera Specialty, and they cover it, and they provide an excellent policy, so.
Jerry, no, the other Jerry.
Yes.
I recently saw on fake news, and I saw this on 2 different local networks, both CBS and ABC, that there is quite a issue brewing in the state of Florida with regards to remediation. And in both broadcasts on 2 different networks, they were talking to not only the applicable government bodies, but they were talking also to services that provide remediation, as well as the homeowners. And the crux of the whole dialogue was that this whole pinning thing for sinkholes, excuse my language, is a bunch of baloney, okay? And that there is only one way to remediate sinkholes. And the reason this is becoming a big issue, and I think this is going to end up becoming a big state issue, not just our area, is because the counties themselves have accepted remediation done by pinning, and they put on their own websites by property that the property's been remediated, had a sinkhole and was remediated. So now it appears, I'm not saying it does, but it appears as though there's collusion, if you will, between the counties accepting anything that's told to them with regards to remediation, and that they also brought in reputable engineers who said that the people who have said that this has been done and it has been corrected properly is a bunch of baloney. And that these engineers locally that have certified this, they're full of shit, okay?
Yeah.
So how is that going to affect the insurance industry? Because if this continues to blow up in the state of Florida, this is going to become a huge insurance issue.
That's a really good question, actually. And I wouldn't necessarily consider it collusion, but honestly just ignorance. And I think that what's happened is that a lot of people, okay, remember a few months ago when that huge sinkhole happened in Lando Lakes?
Yeah. Right.
That house was a remediated sinkhole, and they did pinning.
Right.
The pinning is a crock.
Right. And they pointed that out, that in most cases where they're having significant issues like this, they are pinned versus done the other way with filling with concrete, etc.
The concrete injections, the grout filling is 100% the way to go. The issue with pinning is that it's earth movement. You can't, that's nothing. It's not really doing anything. And I don't know, it's hard to say if there's people exploiting that part of the remediation or if it's just simply ignorance. But I personally have not seen anything really come out of the homes that have been pinned that actually had a real sinkhole. Now, on the other hand, there are homes that just had settlement issues or didn't even honestly have a sinkhole, but they had remediation done to the home, and there's not really going to be any issues with those homes.
And the comments were very interesting from the homeowners who said, hey, I bought this $300,000 or $400,000 house based on the information that was not only provided to me by my real estate professional, but also by virtue of what I saw online and with the county, that this was remediated and I shouldn't necessarily have a big concern about this. I think there's some huge lawsuits.
Oh, definitely. And there's just so much gray area. I would personally recommend not purchasing a home that's been pinned.
It's probably good advice.
Yeah.
Yes, last one.
You should see the number of people that actually take those insurance claims and cash it and don't do anything.
Correct.
And then try to get a mortgage.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or then try to sell their house.
Right.
Try to get a, like, nobody can get a mortgage on that home.
Well, now Florida law states too that if you have received payment for a settlement of for settlement of a settlement, right? Okay. Then you have to disclose how much you received and how much you have then put into the home. Both those figures have to be disclosed. And for a lot of people, it's 80,000 and zero.
Yes.
Okay? Received 80, had a great, I've been wanting to go to Europe forever, right? And we stayed in this castle. It was awesome. They had servants and Mr. whatever, Bates came up and served me. All right, it was awesome. All right, but now my house is still, And to Tiffany's point though, a lot of those people read a billboard, all right, didn't have a sinkhole, saw a crack in their sidewalk, and some guy came out and all the insurance companies were rolling over like no tomorrow, saying, all right, just settle, write him a check, all right? And now it's time to pay the piper, right? People wonder, how in the world could Trump ever pass something that says anybody who buys something on the coast ought to not be able to have flood insurance for $87 a year? That's ridiculous.
Right.
Well, guess what? That's subsidized by somebody. And guess what? People in Nebraska could care less that you want to live in Clearwater. All right? And they don't want to pay for your right to live in Clearwater $87 a month. You want to live in Clearwater? Good on you, buddy. All right? But pay $8,700 a year. All right? Or self-insure or be prepared to deal with the consequences of living in a high-risk area. All right? Now, are there high risks in Nebraska? Absolutely. Things can happen in Nebraska. They don't happen in Clearwater, right? But this is what actuaries do, all right? And what Tiffany and her family sit around and talk about at Thanksgiving, all right, is all this risk, all this kind of really, really exciting stuff about why this all occurs, right? It's just, and quite frankly, that's why, God bless the National Association of Realtors and everybody else, but they're your trade organization, and I get it, all right? But we are very self-serving, right? They're big on this whole tax. Let's oppose the tax bill that's coming out because it's going to double the standard deduction, which will eliminate some people's incentive to buy a home. Well, but the only people that are going to choose that are people that are going to choose that because they're getting a better tax rate or a better tax deal because they chose the double deduction. So they're going to save money in taxes. Oh, we don't care if you're saving money in taxes. All we care is that you buy more homes. Well, no, I care that we save more taxes, all right? My supposition is that if we save more taxes, then they have more money and then maybe they could buy a home without having us to try and trick them into doing one, right? Okay, it's just, the more we can get a free market into this, all right? And forget this subsidy garbage, all right? And move on to a free market solution that says, hey, look, I just bought an investment property. I knew going in it was in a flood zone. I knew, did I have to factor that into my investment cap rate analysis as I was buying this? Absolutely, which I did, all right? And so, okay, is it gonna affect my cash flow? Yeah, when I'm paying an extra $1,200, or $1,500 a year, that cuts into my cash flow on an investment property. So I just got to factor it in, right? Now, can it change if all of a sudden things go to hell in a handbasket and now my $1,500 flood insurance policy goes to $3,000 and $4,500 and $6,000? All right, yeah, that could affect me, right? So those are things that we got to be aware of. But having a partner and a teammate on your side that you can ask these questions to on the front side, right? By the way, real quick on as far as, just remind me again as I'm going through another transaction, when you represent your clients, which I represented myself, all right, I push my transaction coordinator, hey, look, we got to get the survey and the flood cert elevation certificate in right away. I want it done within the 15-day inspection period. Why? I want my, make sure that the municipal lien search is back within the inspection period. Why during the inspection? Because I want, there's my out, okay? I wrote an as-is contract. I had 15 days to get out of jail, all right? But it's no, I got to have all my data in place before that 15-day mark. Because come day 16, I've lost my right to back out, right? Yeah, but the flood quote came in higher. Too bad, so sad. You should have got your quote during your 15 days. Quit playing around and get this thing done, right? And so you should be doing the same for your clients they represent as buyers, all right? That you have to go in and say, hey, look, this is our 10-day, 15-day, 12-day, whatever window you have, all right? This is our time to get this done and get it done now. Speak now, forever hold your peace, right? And I had all my data in place. I had made my estimates, what I thought my flood was going to be, and it all came in line, so I'm going through, right? But if it had not, I had the right to back out. So, but having partners like this, all right, which we haven't bound our insurance yet. I'm going to have my transaction coordinator reach out to you just to make sure. All right, just to make sure we get, we can save a little extra money to help my cash flow.
Thanks. Mine too.
That's right, and yours as well. It's a synergistic relationship. Let's just make sure that you're doing things, thinking through, right? Because these are things that you should be value adding to your client, right? If you're not, then why are they using you? Quite frankly, right? I mean, what good are you doing? Because you bought them coffee? All right, because you passed a flipping test that my 14-year-old could pass? No offense to you, it took 8 times to do it, all right, okay? Everything's looking down. We don't, Jim, we don't have that data, right? We don't get, there's no way we can search how many times it took. All right, don't worry about it. All right, so we don't know. If it took you 8, took you 1, doesn't matter to us. By the way, there is no correlation on those who passed the first time and passed on the 8th time as those who are successful. Matter of fact, a lot of times that passed on 8th time are probably more successful than the people that passed first, because the people who passed first are a bunch of, too busy trying to be compliant. I've got to make my I's dotted and T's crossed before I can do a deal. All right, well, the 8th ones are like, man, I got to shuck and jive, man. I've got, how much does it cost to take the test? Like 50, 60 bucks or something? All right, well, you got an extra 480 bucks in your negative cash flow to go make up because it took you 8 times, right? So you're even more motivated. Let's hit the ground running. Let's go sell something, right? So that being said, I'm just saying, you got to value add, right? And having the answers, hey, can we do a sinkhole remediated home? The answer is yes. Is it valuable if it's pinned? Well, yeah, but here's a report I saw. It said you might want to, reconsider all these things. What's that? What's that? Well, I'm just saying, it's all just whether or not, the data's there, but you got to have the data to make an informed decision, and you got to provide that to your clients. See, Kev? All right? There's a realtor stuff in tree. That's right. All right.
Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Any last questions for Tiffany before I let go? Yes, Sarah.
Let's make a plug
Yes.
for Tiffany. So if you don't understand what the policy says, because sometimes it's reading German or Spanish to some of us, send it to Tiffany and she'll explain it to you.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing is she insures for our company too. So
oh, good.
I highly recommend Tiffany.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very good. Well, thanks, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Are you less nervous now?
Yes.
All right, good deal. All right. Perfect. Awesome. You did a great job. Thank you. All right, let's keep things rolling. David, can you, we got a little longer there. Can you go in 5? Sure. All right, we're going to make it 5 minutes. Here we go. All right, so David's going to come on up, and while David's coming up, I'm going to cover something real quickly. I'll get a chance to do this. Paragraph 8 of the financing clause in the newest FAR bar contract. Reminder, all right? David, we just had this discussion because he's got a situation. He came in and said his loan approval date, first of all, it said loan commitment. We corrected on that, right? So loan approval date is up today, correct? So, and they don't have loan approval. What are his options with his buyer, all right? He's got some decisions to make, he being his buyer, not him, all right? He educates, because we never make a decision for our client, we just educate them and let them make the decision, right? Yes. Okay, perfect. So, he's got a choice, all right? Do you trust the lender? All right, oh, it's coming. I go, yeah, we don't have it yet, but the approval, just give me 3 more days, right? Have you heard that before? Yeah. Just 3, it's an underwriting, final underwriting, it's in there, it's coming, right? Okay, I get it, right? That's all cool, but today's your drop dead date. Just like the 15th was my drop dead date on 15 days if I had negotiated that in my inspection period. Now, loan approval deadline is today. What happens? Okay, here's some options. And again, this is a great class on FHR University. We go through it. It's about 22 minutes long. I'm going to condense it into the next 18 seconds. Ready? Here's what happens. If David's client does nothing, right? Okay, today midnight comes and goes, it's gone. Automatically, a 3-day window kicks in where the seller has a unilateral right to cancel that contract, right? So closing dates for 15 days from now, seller says, I don't care if closing dates, I don't trust this person, all right? I'm out, I'm gonna move on and find somebody else that really can get approved, right? Well, David's buyer doesn't want the seller to have the unilateral right to cancel. So what does David's buyer do? David's buyer says, hey, look, I don't have loan approval yet, all right, but I am waiving my financing contingency. I trust my lender. It's my brother-in-law, and it's going to be an ugly Thanksgiving if he doesn't come through, all right? So, but we're going to make this happen, so I'm waiving that. So what does that do? That voids the seller's 3-day right to cancel, all right? So now, but now he's on the hook. Okay, he's saying, hey, look, I've lost my finance key. I can't come back later and say, hey, I couldn't get my loan. I want my money back. Too bad, so sad. You lose the earnest money, right? The third thing that could happen is they both go silent, right? So David's buyer goes silent. The seller doesn't exercise the unilateral right to the 3-day window, and we get now to the 4th day. Now, from 4th day on through closing, we're going to closing as if we have loan approval, which means you've lost the financing contingency, all right? One last moment. I saw an email last night. I haven't had a chance to respond back to it yet, but one of our agents received a conditional loan approval. The new contract is very clear on what conditional loan approval means. Conditional loan approval is a loan approval, except if the condition is the sale of the buyer's home, right? The buyer has another home to sell. That is the only thing that would not be considered loan approval per the contents of the new contract. Anything else, 52 contingencies, right? Loan approval if, right? It says loan approval, we're saying that's a loan approval. I don't care how, as long as one of those 52 isn't, buyer has to sell their home. Got it? Contract's very clear on that as well. So, yeah, and David, is that why you went outside to make sure you talk to your buyer, make sure they understand what their rights are? Okay. All right, and here's what we have to do by tonight, right? And by the way, I'd put that in email and writing and text, everything else, so they don't come back later on and say, what do you mean I lost my earnest money? No, we talked about this. All right, we dialogued back and forth. We knew that today at midnight was the deadline. Okay, cool? David.
Now, I just need to get something straight here.
Yep.
Is it 5 minutes from when you introduced me?
That's correct. I did not just eat into your 5 minutes. All right.
Okay. Anyway, David Rankin, Patriot Title. I'm also the attorney for the Greater Tampa
Realtors.
Thank you. And also the owner of American Patriot Title, and our value-added proposition, in addition to the great service that our competitors here who are outstanding title companies, is that if you call and you have a legal issue or title issue, you can talk to me and I can do whatever I can do to resolve, answer that question or answer the question that your clients have. And have some exciting news. We moved our offices from Lutz to basically the corner of Fletcher and Del Mabry, right in the middle of the Carrollwood area. So we're available for you there full-time now. Let's see, first point I want to make. I represent a lot of folks in front of the Florida Real Estate Commission, and I was going to give a little longer presentation, but I just want to leave this pearl of wisdom, then I'm going to move on to another quick topic. I interviewed a witness one time. She was a witness. Somebody else filed a complaint against my guy. It was toward the end of the proceeding, and she had testified that she did not file a complaint against my client. And so after the deposition, I walked up to her and I said, hey, why didn't you file a complaint against my client? You know, sometimes you have to ask these questions. And she turned to me and she says, you know, I liked him. I liked him. And I didn't want to tell her that she had every right to file a complaint, and my client would have been disciplined based upon what had happened, their interaction, or what he failed to do, but she liked him. All right, so the moral of the story is, whenever you have an opportunity to respond to your client, make sure that you respond promptly. There is absolutely nothing in this world that irritates someone and makes them dislike you quicker than not responding, all right? So if you engage with somebody, make sure that you respond promptly. The other thing is, just a quick note, is whenever you have these deadlines and you are exercising a right or not exercising a right, first of all, communicate with your client and confirm with your client what the decision is, what the opportunity is, what deadline is expiring, and then after you have that conversation, you communicate and you have them communicate back saying, yes, that's my decision. So you don't ever have to worry about having this debate, do they love me? Do they love me not? Are they going to file a complaint? Are they going to file a complaint? Not. All right, so just remember that. Last thing I want to share with you is that when you are a buyer's agent, it's very important. You've shown some folks some properties, and they're interested, and all of a sudden, they go cold. They do not communicate, all right? The way these things get resolved, where if you have a claim for you were the procuring cause, and if you go cold on them, then you can pretty much kiss your commission goodbye. Because what the other side is going to do, what that person will do, and the other agent that picks it up and claims that commission will do is say, well, you abandoned that client. And of course, your thought is, well, they abandoned me. And you have that great debate about, it's not about you, it's about me, all that kind of stuff. You can debate that all day long. But when you show properties and that person stops communicating, continue to send emails, not goodbye, but just keep up the dialogue. Pretend like they're responding. Just keep communicating, because when that property that you showed them shows up as sold and sold to your buyer, if you have stopped communicating, then you have essentially waived your right to, you can file an arbitration proceeding and you can pursue the commission, but the panel who will be reviewing that, and I've sat there and listened to many of them, they have me come down and advise them, not tell them what to do, but what are the legal rights, what are the answers to the legal questions, and I can advise them, and I try to leave, and they say, no, we want you here while we're deliberating. And I never tell them what I think, but when you hear these discussions, one of the first things they do, if someone has stopped communicating, is say, well, it's pretty easy. They were abandoned. The buyer, they say that, they wanted to participate, they wanted to communicate, and well, how do we know that? How do we know what was going on in their mind? But if you continue to send emails, hey, we showed this property, you still interested? And even if the message continues to be the same, keep communicating so that no one can accuse you of abandoning that client. Now the question is, okay, is it 2 months, 3 months? You have to be the judge of that. But if you see that the property is sold, then you have a claim, and I've seen a lot of buyer's agents win the entire commission because they were the procuring cause. They started that conversation. They introduced the person to the property. They contacted the agent. They started the negotiations. And then it was only because that buyer stopped communicating. It wasn't because the agent stopped communicating. The agent kept communicating. And they can win that. So anyway, a pearl of wisdom, as I say.
Lots of pearls for you, David. Oh.
There we go. There we go. String of pearls.
There you go.
There we go.
Good deal.
All right.
And, it is huge. Yeah, David's very valuable. Matter of fact, David, I sent over, because I'm not, David, the seller chose the title company, the property I'm buying, got my title commitment back, all right, which I insisted upon during the first 15 days. Did I talk about that? All right. I wanted to get this back in time so I could still back out. I sent it over to David. Hey, David, can you do me a favor and quick review of this? Anything pops up, unnecessarily, or that caused everything looked good, a couple red flags you might want to consider being there. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about that, because that happened to me, and I was told that if you want to make a claim, they can say no, I fired her. And if they say that, you don't receive any commission.
Well, I would beg to differ, because the buyer can't choose to unilaterally just fire you unless, again, that's part of it. Trust me, every time you go to arbitration, the other agent's going to say, hey, look, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, since you used me and I cut you back half my commission, that's why you used me. All right, and the other agent wasn't willing to do it. That's why we decided to make you switch. But I'll just write this letter to say you weren't satisfied with their services, that's why you decided to do it, right? You fired the other agent, okay? Well, that's not necessarily definition of procuring cause, is it, David? Does the buyer get to choose?
Well, that's a small factor, but if the buyer's agent has done everything that any reasonable agent would have done, in other words, they have not fallen below the standard of care, if that panel, who are your peers, they are realtors who sit on the arbitration panels, if they think that you introduced the property to them and that you did what most realtors would do, you didn't screw up, you didn't fail to communicate, if you did what they would have done, then in all likelihood they will find in your favor. One of the factors might be, okay, the buyer said, I fired that person. Well, tell us why you fired that person. Well, they didn't communicate. Well, if you come back with a series of emails saying, I haven't heard from you, I'm continuing to communicate, then obviously that refutes that. It's a factual question. If the panel thinks that, well, this buyer just made an arbitrary decision through no fault of the buyer's agent to say adios, then that will not defeat the procuring cause argument.
Does that make sense? And you hear that a lot. You do hear that a lot, but the answer is it can't be the only determining factor, because if that were the determining factor, I can put an ad on Craigslist today. It says, hey, look, run your realtors around, let them go show property all you want, you find the house you want, then call me, I'll rebate you back half your commission, and I've got this pre-form letter that says you fired your agent. All right, and I win. Okay? That's not going to work as long as we have a good panel. Now, the other thing about the panel, and I've said this before, and Tom will argue with me, Tom Scaglione, who's not here, so he can't argue, all right, is that you've got a panel of 5 or 7 or whatever they are, agents out there, right? The problem with these agents, nice people, but they're agents who have time to sit on these boards, okay? And they love doing it, right? They can't wait for it, and they haven't closed a deal in the last 14 years, but they're going to tell you what you should have done as a realtor to close this deal, all right? I'm sure they're quality people or they're GTAR, but I've sat in front of these panels, I'm like, yeah, boy. Hey, you know what, maybe we should go step outside and see if we can negotiate a 50-50 on this one, because we are screwed, all right? Because these people just don't know what they're doing. That being said, you're at their mercy, right? And then so just realize that, but it's true, but don't believe that. That's not necessarily the case. Cool? Thanks. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I'm in real estate where I sell Texas real estate.
Yeah.
And we have listing agreements that our sellers sign, but in the state of Texas, by law, we have to have what is called a buyer's rep agreement. And that stops any.
Yeah, exclusive buyer agency agreement by law?
Yes.
Okay.
So is there a legal document that I can have my buyer sign when I have my initial meeting?
I'd take a look at your Texas one, but the exclusive buyer agency agreement we have here is great, but who's it with? Your contract is with your buyer. All right, so the only person you can go after is the buyer, right? Now, having that exclusive buyer agency agreement probably helps your case in an arbitration situation, right? But they still can fire you, right, from that. And if you say, well, you didn't fire me legitimately, and here's this exclusive buyer agency agreement, your real case is now we got to go to civil court, okay, not an arbitration at a board, to take the buyer to court, all right? Probably bad business, all right? Some little old lady comes out, with her, 2 grandsons on either side saying, she made me and sued me for $4,000. Well, you signed it, Mrs. Smith, all right? I didn't know what I was signing.
But in the agreement, it says that if they're going to fire you, they have to send you a right.
I understand. But again, it's between you and the buyer, so your case is against the buyer, and the buyer is not a member of a board of realtors, so you don't arbitrate that. You sue them, right, to enforce a contract, which again is the ultimate. Now again, don't get me wrong. Do I encourage exclusive buyer agency agreements? Yeah, go for it, right? Okay? Mentally, at least it ties them to you, if nothing else. I think legally it does, right? It's a contract. Is it not a contract?
Well, it's a contract. The problem is that usually there's not enough money.
Yeah, right.
Not enough money involved to warrant suing, and all you do is get a judgment, and collection is another matter.
Go after an escrow.
Right. It's like going after escrow. Good point. So, but I agree, and I think we should use them, all right? But I don't think it's necessarily the solution, even though mentally it does tie them to you more having signed one of those. I firmly, encourage it. So, cool. All right. Any more? Free legal service, free legal aid, all the time you want. All right. Good deal. Hey, real quick before I bring Jerry and Marlene up, I want to show you this real fast. So, Mara Lee is our in-house transaction coordinator. Some of you guys have closing coordinators, and that's great. Mara has some openings. She got pretty tied up for a while. All right, but here's her menu of services. Does a fantastic job. Mara is, boy, is she just as detailed as you ever want to be. All right, her information is there. All right, 813-765. This is her fees are there. And we'll put this up on our, is it on our website anywhere? Okay, we'll make sure it's on our website so you have that information. Again, if you're doing enough business, and when you first get in the business, I think you should do your own closings. You got to know what you like about a closing coordinator or a transaction coordinator. And if you have never done one, then, you know, I think you're doing your clients a disservice not having gone through the process. But once you've gone through the process, you've gone through the process, and your job is to go out there and shake some more hands, have some more coffee, and, you know, go give massive value first rather than worrying about trying to get all this stuff done. So I encourage you to do it. Now, she has some limited openings, so you might want to reach out to her. She's fantastic in doing what she does. Everybody got that? Cool. Jerry, Marlene, come on up. So we got Jerry, Marlene, Leonard. We always like to bring up one of our cappers, one of our higher producing agents. Now, this happens to be a higher producing team, all right, that tell us about, you know, because we're so diverse, all right? Now we're pushing 1,300 agents now, all right? And the diversity,
We're
all right?
right here?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
The diversity of our agents, we got people coming from all walks of life that are massively successful in this business. And it's cool to see how they all attack their business differently and the way to say, hey, you know what? So we like to try and bring up people to do all sorts of different things. So, do you guys have anything you want to share with us? You want me to just start asking you some questions?
Go ahead.
All right. First, awesome.
Actually, let me share that.
Oh, yeah, please. That's absolutely.
We're
Here,
doing
once you hold that, so
Okay.
between us all.
All right.
We're doing we're involved with Regions Mortgage and Majesty Title, Lynn McKinnon. And
Yes.
actually, she set this up, but it's a first-time home buyer program. Regions is going to talk about all of their you know, programs that they have to help first-time home buyers, you know, renters get
It's actually
into
like a
house.
seminar, right?
It's
Or
a seminar.
Okay, first-time home buyer
Yeah,
seminar.
it's going to be only 2 hours, so it's going to be fairly short, but, you know, we've been putting the word out there, trying to get some people in, and really, she's wanting to do it with future home realtors. So if anybody here has someone who you think, you know, is looking at buying their first home, it's renting, wants to get out, sick of renting or whatever, bring them to this event. It's
When is it?
Next Saturday.
Saturday, the
November 4th from 10 to 12. And it's at the Residence Inn at Tampa North Point in Lutz, which is like off of 54 and Suncoast. So it's right there. And so it'll be a good event, you know, and they, Regions Mortgage will actually can qualify them right there if they're really, you know, ready to go.
Awesome.
So, you know, but if anybody knows of anybody that is gonna, you know, that's a first-time home buyer, please bring them.
You know, and if you don't have, if you're newer in the business, and don't go, so you learn about these programs. I'm just telling you, if you don't have a first-time home buyer bullet in your belt, all right, programs, you mean, because there's money, 15,000 right now, it's going to go only down to 7,500,
Yeah.
okay?
November
Oh, is that all?
15th, I
Okay.
think I said.
Okay, yeah.
Soon.
So,
Pretty much down.
was that? Oh, it's down, it's 7,500 now?
Started
Okay.
now, and they're like, no,
right.
on the 15th.
Okay.
See, now, I was told up until the 15th, because I know Lynn had gone to one of their
Right.
meetings or whatever, but then eventually they'll come up with other programs supposedly.
Well, here's the
too,
thing,
but-
$7,500 is
That's
better than a
nothing.
sharp poke in the eye, okay?
Exactly.
You know, and well, trust me, there was a post on our 100K Facebook page about somebody posting about stated income, investor loans, you know, call me. I'm like, holy, okay, is this, let me go back in time. Are we in 2007 again?
Yeah.
All right, hello. It doesn't take us long to forget, does it? Okay? Okay, we've forgotten about 9/11, and now we're about to forget about 2008. Okay? Stated income, anybody, fog a mirror, get a loan. Go watch The Big Short. Okay? If you haven't watched that movie yet, go watch it. All right? And let's not participate, please. All right? Okay, if somebody wants to buy an investment property, have them put 20% down like everybody else, and you know what I mean? There's a reason why okay, anyway. And I get it. Somebody's going to do it, so why not be me? And da-da-da-da. Next thing you know, we're playing this Jenga game again, and then the house of cards comes tumbling down all over, all right? I think hopefully let's learn from our lessons.
Yeah.
Not this. This is all first-time home buyer programs. That's great. But all that being said, so everybody got the details on that?
Yeah, I put them out. So.
All right, perfect. Good deal. So, how long in the business?
Well, I started in 2000,
Okay.
so I've been in about 17 years right now, and I was in corporate America and then got into it. I feel I was fortunate because I got in when West Chase was starting to,
Nice.
develop and everything like that. So I had an advantage where a lot of new agents coming in now, you got to pound the streets, you got to send out the postcards, you got to do the open houses, you do all that. Well, we had a shop right in, the town center, and customers came to us. It was like, standing room where you talk about, having floor time.
Yeah.
I mean, people fought for floor time at that time
Because it was valuable.
Oh, yeah. And people were coming in all the time. So I really had an advantage when I started at that time because, again, clients were coming to me, and I was able to build my base a lot faster than the agents that are coming in now.
What type? We're out of corporate America, Jerry.
I worked for Revlon Cosmetics.
Okay, very good.
And traveled for them in sales.
Gotcha. In
So,
sales and everything. So you had that sales background, if
Exactly.
you will. Okay, for doing that. That's awesome.
And so, it was a business that I enjoyed because, you got to meet people.
Sure.
And I feel like I enjoy that, meeting new people, learning about them. And we had a client one time that said, you must meet people at their worst because you have husband and wives, the wife loves the place, the husband's not too hot about it, or the vice versa where the husband likes it and the wife says, are you kidding me? You like this place, and things like that. So
Okay, quick
you
word of
learn
advice,
people.
by the way. I learned this about my second hour in the real estate business. Husband loves it, wife hates it, move on. All right? Okay?
Pretty
Wife
much.
loves it, husband hates it, let's write a contract. Okay? Okay, go ahead.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So as the market, as you were talking about, as the market started, getting a little bit soft, I went into commercial and Marlene picked up the residential end of our business. So that's kind of when we really started teaming up together. But then as that market, the commercial, as residential went down, commercial kind of followed it right afterwards in regards to the space and everything. And the short sale started. So I started getting into the short sale business, managing that when Marlene was managing a lot of our buyers and things like that. So the idea of the partnership was I could be focusing on one area where she could focus on another area in our business. And again, as we know, you get into the administrative end of it, it takes a lot of time, and you still got to be on the phone to the clients, the customers, figuring out all the problems that you have and things like that with regards to home inspections and things like that. So having two people, it really made it a lot easier for me to get into that short sale business. And a lot of agents got away from it because it was too much work. But it was a major portion of it. And again, you got a lot of new clients. I mean, we had people that were renting and ended up buying a home in a short sale that we put in as a rental property. So again, the business really kind of grew that way with getting into the changes in the industry.
It's kind of what I'm hearing. This is the first time I've heard their story about 2000 got in the business. Is that in 17 years we've had some shifts in our market, correct? Guess what? Okay, let me lay something on you. A guy I know, Gary Keller, wrote a book called Shift. All right. Markets shift all the time, okay? There are cycles to every business, right? Sounds like to me you did a really good job of navigating and understanding that, hey, look, all right? People are walking into West Chase because we're just laying the sewer pipe. This is an exciting place to be. Oh, sewer pipe's done, everything's done, okay? Now let's shift. All right, let's bring Marlene on. She can start doing this. I'm going to get into some commercial, right? And then, now everything, you know what? What's the hot thing now? What's moving? Short sales. So you adapted, right, to what you, and that's the key.
You wouldn't be in business.
Right, exactly. And those businesses that thrive always adapt, right? And we always got to be prepared to adapt, and you got to be prepared to make changes in your business. And it sounds like you've done it and done it well.
Well, we've been fortunate.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody else in the business, you know, you have your ups and downs, you have your good days and bad days and all of that. But, you know, you just got to stay in touch with your clients. You know, as you, again, tell the story of being in the business. I mean, when I was in the business, there was a talk about this guy who was going to all these open houses bringing water. And I thought, who is this guy that's bringing water to all?
Water and candy.
And candy, yeah, you know, and
chocolates.
that was my first introduction to you, Bob, in regards to, you know,
Is that how we met?
yeah, you know, I mean, and again, it's pounding the pavement, you know, getting out
You know,
there.
I used to go, Joseph, who's now 14, Joseph was about 3 or 4, and he and Jim would work Pinellas County, right? All right, Jim would do the Pinellas County, I'd do Hillsborough County. We'd go out on Saturday and deliver open house relief kits. And it's just because Future Home Realty, like Future Home what? Right? And so we would go out, I'd have a baggie with a couple of Dove chocolates, a granola bar, and some cold bottles of water. I met Joseph at 4 years old. He's a good-looking guy now, but at 4, he was like the cutest thing ever. Like, who's going to say no to him, right? You know, and I just say, hey, look, he's a hungry dude. Look at him. He likes to eat. You got to join our company so I can feed him. All right? And so it was perfect. So
well, 2, he came in like a ball of fire, usually, candy and water.
That's right.
Well, like, you know, so the value was right there.
That's right. You got to sense
and you
it.
were perky and, you know, so we remembered you, you know. It took us a while to come on board, but we did eventually come on board.
Well, and that was at least in front of you. Hey, that guy, that's the guy who came to the open house. So,
Really?
But it goes back to beating the streets, right? It's just a matter of, hey, look, you get in front of people, eyeball to eyeball, right? Me sending all the emails in the world, they're like delete, 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 right? I met at an open house. Now, hey, maybe it's 3 years down the road. Hey, it's time to move, right? So that's the same thing for you guys. What I'm trying to tell you is that eyeball to eyeball, that's why we promote open houses so much, because you get a chance to get in front of people. And once you get eyeball to eyeball and shake a hand, all right, that goes a long, long way.
Absolutely,
You know?
absolutely. The idea of talking to people, I know it's a digital age and all of that, but the idea of picking up a phone and calling them and talking to them in person, because their voice is going to tell you one thing, and you get a text message or an email, you know, you don't really get the feeling of where that client is. So if you pick up the phone and you talk to them and hear their voice, and, you know, sometimes you can hear in a voice of a client that, you know, something might be bothering them and things like that you don't see in a text message and stuff like that. So, you know,
Even
we
with
try
all
to
the
reach out.
emojis.
Exactly.
Yeah,
With all
right?
the-
Exactly.
Exactly.
Their emojis
Exactly.
can lie, but their voice never will.
Exactly, exactly. So, you know, the idea of reaching, you know, we have clients that are very digital orientated and all of that, and it's funny because, you know, I'll call him and it may take 3, 4, 5 phone calls before he'll call me back. But I know that I just got to keep, you know, calling him, and sooner or later he'll get just, you know, he'll figure, hey, I might as well call him back or he's going to keep pestering me. And, you know, that's not a bad thing, you know, I mean, it's just staying on their mind in regards to talking to them and finding out what they're doing and things like that, so.
So your business now, where's it coming from?
Referrals.
Okay.
I would say that predominantly most of our business comes from referrals from our clients in regards to, you know, because again, as you said, that's a strong way for that buyer or seller to really, you know, believe in you because they heard it from somebody.
I mean, do you have an active plan to engage your database?
We socialize with.
Okay, good. And then that's a great answer, by the way.
To be honest with you, most of our clients are friends. They become our friends. And so that's our whole sphere. I mean, we keep engaged with them, you know, the holidays and all of that. So I think that's the crux of our business. Now, I do a little bit in Zillow, but I'm not, you know, like the billboard people, and they probably spend $10,000 a month or something on Zillow.
Right.
I spend less, you know, much less, but I do, it does pick up, it does help, because wherever that lead comes from, usually we'll get one deal and then we'll get another deal. And then we usually get 2 or 3 deals. And so,
out of that one quote-unquote Zillow lead, which takes a lot of sifting. It's like panning for gold, right? Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Do you guys track that? I mean, so what I'm asking, I guess, is do you earn more commission dollar than you spend from your Zillow stuff?
We do earn more than we spend.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
And
so
you have to know that answer, by the way. Because just throwing money at Zillow for no good reason doesn't do you any good unless it's trackable. And you can find out, hey, look, it does work. And not only does it work, but it works to this extent. right?
Well, and when I was in one zip code, that, all of a sudden, there's a lot of other realtors, so I wasn't getting that much. And so I moved to another zip code, and then I started getting, I find you have to call them and yell at them a little bit and say,
Zillow.
hey, I want this, I want that, I'm not getting this, I'm gonna, so it I start to get more leads when I do that for some reason.
Well, squeaky wheel.
Yeah, so that just, that's a smaller part of our business, our friends and referrals are biggest.
Which is where you want to be, right? Ideally, you'd love for you to sit back and order take, right? Hey, people calling you, hey, come list my home, come list my home. But you know what? It takes 17 years to get to that point too, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's our goal, is to get there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, when you have, your clients who have jobs with different companies, if you can get to them and ask them, who's the personnel director in the company, can you get in front of those people to talk to them in regards to that? That's a great opportunity for you, because if you can get into corporations, personnel people, because they're hiring and firing people. We were fortunate enough that early in my career we met a lot of people from all children's, and that was really launched our business, because again there were nice paying jobs who could afford nice homes and everything, and we got in there, we showed them around, and sometimes you show people around and you don't get the business, as you were saying about before, but it's funny because 2 years down the road you get you worked with so-and-so and that you were so nice to them, and now it comes back to you later on. Everybody wants instantaneous results. This is not the business to be in if you want instantaneous results, because again, even from the time you have a contract to the time you go to closing, you have that window there that things can fall apart. I mean, you could say, hey, I got a solid contract here, and as we were talking today, things come up, and the day before, the loan falls apart or something happens in regards to doing all of that.
That's when I get stressed and he handles it.
Exactly.
I'm like, I'm out.
That's right.
I'm
Good
done.
deal. Yeah, let me know.
And the other thing about having a team partnership is when you have husband and wives, and you have 2 children, and you're showing a house and they're scattered all over the place. It's nice to have 2 versus 1. I mean, I've done it before where you show a house and you got a wife going that way, a husband going that way, and the kids are running around the house, and you're trying to manage this thing here, that they don't tear apart the house or break something and things like that. So
just to be clear, I take over then and he plays with the kids.
Good deal. Exactly.
That might be true.
Carry a wiffle ball in your trunk, right? Just go, let's go play ball.
Yeah.
So, again, it's a lot of times is, the relationship that you build with your clients, and to be able to mature them and
really the
help them.
relationships that we have. And with the physicians too, a lot of times we worked with a lot of new physicians, so they were young, but they all wanted to buy the big, build a house or, big house, but they a lot of times will rent for a year. So you'll work with them, and basically when they come into town, we showed them around, and Jerry would, this is what St. Pete's about, this is what Tampa's, we might show them, we drive them around for a long time, and they still might rent. We get them the rental, and then we work on, getting them a house, so
many agents poo-poo working with renters, and I get that, because it's, hey, look, on the dollar, but you got to have a longer vision, right? Because it's all about the relationship, and a year, 2 years from now, then they end up buying an $800,000 home. Because quite frankly, they're in the midst of their residency, right? They're working like 87 hours a week, all right, if they're coming into town, right? They don't have time, and you know what? Why am I going to buy an $800,000 home when I'm going to sleep 4 hours a night, right, at best, right? So why, and so it's okay, right, to do. I think that's great.
Well, and one thing for us too, and the physicians they really mentored our son too, who is now in medical school.
Nice.
So, I don't think he had that much of a vision before, but he worked with them, and, he got to know. So our clients benefit us too, in other ways, with our
That's
kids
awesome.
and stuff like that. You get to know different people in different, walks of life and stuff like that. So it becomes a very rich environment, and so we just play off of it. And I mean, our kids think that we're just playing, we're on the computer, and we're talking to people. I mean, they think it's just, it's not really work, but a lot of times we don't feel like it is too. Until you get into those disputes and, contract work, which,
And I know you push a lot the idea of getting into helping the community and things like that, and I do recommend that. You can't be in every organization, but take one that you really have passion in and get involved in it, because again, that is an area of networking that you don't realize, you're enjoying what you're doing, and the people know that you're in the business, and again, your name gets around. So, like myself, I do a little bit with the Wheelchairs for Kids. It's an organization that helps kids that have cancer that in their health are unable to walk, so they donate wheelchairs because they're very expensive, and sometimes these kids don't have the insurance to cover that. So it's a friend of mine, his wife started it, she's passed away, he's kept it going. So I've gotten involved in that, and Marlene's been involved in...
Women with Purpose, and it's again, cancer victims that it's money that goes to them for fixing their car to get them to, their doctor appointments and things like that. Not so much the insurance stuff, but, outside things that they need, childcare and stuff like that. So we do a little bit of that.
Isn't that cool, right? So that's where you network is within, and then again, boy, you guys haven't been to 100K necessarily, but it fits. I have been. Okay, have you? Okay. That fits right exactly what we teach, right?
It is. It's exactly what you teach.
It's a reasons to there's something, the illustration we use in 100K is when you are donating time at the local dog shelter, right? And you've got your elbow deep in a bunch of suds with a flea-ridden mongrel, right? And the person across from you is washing the right side of the dog and you're washing the left. There's already a common bond there, right? And so you might have met that day, but and next thing you know, their cousin is moving to town. And that's not why we do it, but compared to sitting at home moping about why this business doesn't work, all right? It's a totally different animal, all right? And that is awesome that you guys do. I mean, you guys kind of covered the whole gamut. I mean, it's just between getting the referral business, that's where we all want to be. It's what we call orange groves in 100K, right? Their trees are planted, they just go along and pick the fruit. Isn't that awesome? Now, early on, when Jerry was sitting the floor time and people were coming in, that was more what we call corn planting, right? Because you're trying to create some business now, and it's there, and then you take those people and you convert them into orange trees, right? So that they can eventually refer you business down the road. But they're at least, right, for the time being, for people you had never met 3 minutes ago, and now here they are, right? Yep. Now it's time to convert them and
now
show
they're
them what you
lifelong
do.
friends too.
Yeah, right. And now you've established that to do. Yeah. And plus, I mean, there are so many seeds of wisdom to pull from what they just shared with you guys here between all of what they are doing. I mean, you guys are hitting it all. That's
Well, we try, I mean, and again, I know everybody out there too, you have your ways of doing your business and stuff, and again, it can be frustrating at times. Just don't give up, just hang in there, because again, it is a rewarding business. I mean, when you go back and you see families have grown in a house or something like that, it's not not getting a monetary, but you get a nice feeling inside knowing that, you had something to do with their lives, and to me, that's important, at least right now, that as you get older.
Yeah.
When you're young and you're out there to make a buck and everything like that and getting the sales and everything, but later on when you see the people that you've helped and where their lives are and things like that, it's very rewarding. It's a great business to be in. It really is.
It's a people business, so we enjoy that. It's just something we like. And
that's awesome. So, how about you guys? Any questions you guys have for Jerry and Marlene? Anybody?
Bob, I'll just say that.
Yeah.
They're extremely nice people. I love them too. They're great people.
It tends to go hand in hand, doesn't it? That the nicer you are, the more successful. And not nice to be, trod upon, right? You can be. I guarantee you're a fierce negotiator, right? I mean, you can.
Well,
help
we've
people.
had some things together we've talked about.
Yeah, right. And that's okay, right? I was the same way. I'm the nicest guy, but I'm going to also negotiate the best deal for my client. I'm going to write a contract, and I'm going to be a buster, all right, to make sure the title company gets me the stinking municipal lien search on time so that my clients can do what I want to do. I'm nice, all right, to a point. And, but I'm, going to nicely represent my clients to their fiercest. And so, Maureen, I concur with you 100%. All right. And nice sales in this business, by the way.
Well, and that, again, Jim back there, yourself, Maureen, all of the, it's a family feeling. And that was one of the things that, when I started in the business, we started a brand new company and everybody was new agents and everything, and it was a nice feeling that we're all working together. And coming here to Future Homes, I get that feeling too, and that's what really makes you want to work a little bit better, because when you talk about a future home agent, you know that they're going to be well trained, they're going to do a good job and everything like that, and you can walk a little bit prouder, about being with them and things like that. And that we have to thank you and Jim and Maureen and all of them about, because again, a support factor. You can't do it alone. So,
Absolutely. Very cool.
And speaking of family, my sister just joined Future Home too.
Look at that. See? All in the family. Very good.
Yeah.
She's going to be
brand new.
She's doing real estate in New York, right? And then also here?
I've been doing real estate in New York since 2005, so I'm relating to the lady from Texas.
Oh, yeah, right.
That I'm just getting started here, so I'll be a snowbird. I'll still be working there, but I'll be working down here.
Well, awesome. Well, welcome. Good deal. Cool deal. Any questions for them? They've done a great job kind of covering everything. No? Anybody? Good? Let's see. Because here's the thing, right? Their secret is really not a secret, right? They just do what they do. Do what you do well and let other people tell, right? That's the whole philosophy. Do it well, provide valuable service, and then the doctors are going to tell other doctors, right?
Yeah.
And the donated time wheelchair people are going to tell other people that they come in contact with the sphere. Remember, we teach in our 100K again, you only need 150, because 150 equals 22,500. Okay, why? Because 150 know 150. If you get 150 in your database, and each 150 know 150, 150 squared, let's go back to my math teaching days, is 22,500, right? And so that's all you will ever need. If you took care of 150 people really well, you would never lack for business. I fully believe that, all right? And that's doable, all right? Sarah sees 150 people for coffee each week, all right? Don't you, Sarah?
Sometimes.
With your hood or not with your hood, or all between? All right.
Not with the hood, but with my magic tricks.
All right, very good. Awesome, cool deal. Good deal? All right, no other questions. Phil, I know you got a couple announcements for us for some international stuff maybe, or what?
Yeah, two things. First of all, NAR starts tomorrow. The national convention starts in Chicago tomorrow. And as of Saturday night, the Pinellas Realtor International Council will receive their third Platinum Award for their global achievement. It's one of only about 12 in the whole country out of 125. They will receive that on Saturday night. I will not be there, but they're going to receive that. And then on the 14th of November, they're going to have certification for the military relocation professional. We'll be down at Pro on the 14th of November.
On the 14th. That might be on our calendar or not. We'll check and see. I've been adding a lot of stuff on our calendar that is at the local boards to do. That's one that would be, in this area, Phil has hit the nail on the head, right? He's got international business. You think we have that? And military business. You think we have that?
Veterans.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, and veterans in particular. It's both, highly, we're McDill's here, Coast Guard's here, got all sorts of stuff here, right? And so those are two more bullets to add to your belt.
Between Pinellas, Pasco, and Pinellas, Hillsborough, and Pasco, we have over 250,000 veterans.
Wow, that's a lot.
250,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of DD-214s you could convert into business, trust me. All right, DD-214 is a certificate of eligibility which allows a VA buyer to get in for zero down. All right, okay, if you aren't working with veterans, shame on you. All right.
One of the last key thing you're talking about people passing real estate. I'm also an instructor for real estate in the state, and so they send a monthly report on people passing. 48% of people pass the real estate exam on the first time.
Okay.
32% pass it from the second time on.
Okay, so.
So 68% never pass the exam.
Never pass.
Oh, wow.
Well, you know.
Or they keep failing.
Right, exactly. They just keep learning is what we got. Exactly. Very good. So look at you guys, you're the top 32%. You didn't even know it. All right? Passed the test, you eliminated, 2/3 of your competition. All right? You can't even pass the test. So, Sarah.
Can I share a super quick idea?
You may.
It's phenomenal.
Love it.
So, Thursday, I'm having coffee with my realtor, Pam, and she says I'm having a really hard time getting an open house deal. And I said, well, there's a FSBO in my neighborhood. Go over to Hilltop, knock on the door, and ask them if you can do an open house. They get buyers through their home, you get traffic. So she did. Her and Mark did the open house on Sunday, and they took the listing Sunday night.
Right.
So if you're looking for a new idea, you can't get in those bank phones, go knock on a FSBO.
Love that. Okay? Absolutely. And you know what? Hey, I'm not here to list your home.
Yeah, that's
all right.
what I told him to say. I'm a realtor, but I don't want to list your home. I want to generate traffic for myself.
Yeah.
And it'll generate traffic for you, but they want them over by the end of the open house.
Sure. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, you went above and beyond. Jerry.
I'd like to say something and give kudos to Future Home Realty. In the 4.5 years that we have been associated with Future Home Realty and being officed at Future Home Realty, we have built a lot of relationships. And back to what Bob and these two nice people have been talking about, relationship building is the cornerstone for building a successful business, whether you do traditional real estate or you're a non-traditional real estate broker like myself that specializes in lease and property management. But relationship building, you never know when you're planting those seeds how long you have to wait before you actually cultivate the crop. And in our case, it has been a building relationship with Future Home. And yeah, we do business with other real estate firms throughout Tampa Bay, but I would lie to you if I didn't tell you that our core business wasn't coming from Future Home. And to attest to how this has just become like a well-oiled machine, one of your fellow Future Home Realtors, who is not here today, but does attend the meetings, she and I have built a relationship, and she recently sold I think, $1.3 million house over in Madeira Beach on the water to a couple outside of San Francisco. And it's an investment property. I believe they bought it cash. And we have just signed the deal to manage that as a rental property.
Nice.
It was a model, so they bought it furnished, etc. And for our relationship with Future Home, this will become the largest rental, if you will, as far as price for us with Future Home in the 4.5 years. And now that doesn't mean that we don't appreciate all the other business that we enjoy from Future Home. But in this particular case, this property is going to lease for $7,000 a month.
Nice.
And it is, again, built on relationships. And now that relationship propels into another relationship with the couple, and potentially more business coming back to Pat as the Future Home real estate professional, which ultimately can cultivate back to us and provide more property and lease management. So this relationship and your inner circle that you guys build, everybody builds, is so important because everybody has a component of that circle that makes the whole thing just hum.
That's it. That's awesome. Is that the one, Zuckerberg, is that the last name of the buyer for that?
No.
I thought I saw that name come by. Was that on Paperless Pipeline? I saw that. Awesome. Hey, thanks to Jerry and Marlene. Let's give them a hand for coming out to do that. You know, our top producers, it's not, always easy to find scheduling time to get them in because they're too busy producing to come talk to you, all right? But it's gracious of them to come out and share, right? And that's all part of our culture, is that we all have, because they know, hey, the answer they give today or the help they give today is the help they get tomorrow, all right? And that's part of what we're all about, right? Is that we're just here from a spirit of abundance, that there's plenty for us all. And so by them sharing some of their tips isn't going to take away from their business and give to you. It's an ever-growing pie as opposed to this limited pie. Fair enough? All right? 100K is going to be live in this area. I'm sorry, will be Facebook Live. You guys meeting in your office, Sarah?
Sure.
Okay.
Is it?
Tomorrow? Yeah? No? Maybe. Let us know. You can put it on Facebook. Tomorrow, 9:30 a.m., I'll be in Orlando doing it live, and Facebook Live to everybody everywhere else. Don't forget about, Sarah, we have that incorporating seminar on the 30th?
On the 30th.
30th.
At 11:30 at Pro, we're going to bring in Panera box lunches, so we absolutely need a head count.
All right, and you'll have some type of, we'll put out a flyer. So I know there's already one out there.
Facebook event, you
Okay.
can find it on Facebook.
All right.
Everything's on Facebook.
All right, perfect. Check that. Our holiday party, Christmas holiday party is next Tuesday, December 5th.
From 2 to 4.
2 to 4 at GTAR. I'm just a puppet. I just you speak and I'll repeat it.
This year, we're not able to have a bar because we're a GTAR, but we are going to do our best to bring coffee baristas in and have specialty desserts and coffees for everybody.
Yeah, it's gonna be a nice time. You know, if you ever had a chance to come to our Christmas party, you can come for 5 minutes or come for all 2 hours. All right. So it's we happy to have you. It'll be a good time, and we'll get information about how you can donate to Metropolitan Ministries by bringing a canned food or something there, and good time to see everybody. You get a chance to come out and just join. Plus, GTAR, Getter, has just gone through a renovation, right? They've done some
first party actually in the new auditorium.
Yeah, so they've kind of got a new CEO there who I'm anxious to meet, and so you haven't been over there, it'd be a good chance to see that as well. So, any questions? Reach out to me. Remember, the easiest way to get a hold of me is to email me because that's the fastest way I can forward it to Jim. All right, and get your questions answered. All right, cool. All right, have a great day. All right, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.